Hey Brandon, remember that one F-Zero project I said I was going to try?
Yeah.
Well, I've come up with a protagonist of sorts.
Oh. Well, do tell, my friend.
Okay, well. His name is Captain Seppuku. He wears black and red, a visor like Captain Falcon's, and drives an F-Zero machine called the Red Dove, kinda like the Blue Falcon.
Oh, really now?
Yeah.
Well, what about his traits?
Well you see, Captain Seppuku's character comprises solely off of being just like Captain Falcon, only better at everything and far more powerful. He's also very edgy and swears for that adult rating. Plus, he has a secret dark past.
Splendid. And how did you come up with this character's design?
Let's see. Perfect. So, jokes aside, Lieutenant Seppuku is one of my more interesting characters for certain. At first glance, his very character lingers with a stereotypical fanfiction design. Of course, anyone who knows the character on a more personal level would argue this for good reason. Does it really surprise anyone, though, when I say that Seppuku started off as a cliché fanfiction character? No, I don't mean to lay insult to fanfiction writers, I merely mean, well, come on, you can't deny that fanfiction produces some pretty god-awful characters time again. Seppuku, in the beginning, embodied pretty much everything that makes people dislike fanfiction. And yes, obviously, Captain Seppuku was a mere clone of Captain Falcon. No, not a biological clone or anything like that, but a clone of Falcon's very character. All you need to do is look at his old name, machine name, and his very face to grasp this. Coming off of my latest disaster at the time, Universe of Fire, I retreated to fanfiction, F-Zero in particular, for a stronger go at storytelling. What character did I design for this upcoming F-Zero title? A man named Captain Seppuku. And as I described in the preceding joke, yes, Captain Seppuku was designed of pretty much every cliché in the book of fanfiction writing. His character was that of Captain Falcon, minus the heroic attitude. In terms of attitude, he was more or less like Blood Falcon, but not on the side of evil. For this reason, you could make the argument that Seppuku was designed to be the middle ground Falcon, and that he wasn't good nor bad, but more so of a neutral party. In terms of basic traits, Captain Seppuku was as strong as the two Falcons, a good racer, like the two Falcons, and had his dark backstory, which at the time would have been full of even more cliches. The character Captain Seppuku was an insult upon F-Zero at the time, a Shadow the Hedgehog knockoff, as it were. Fortunately, Captain Seppuku was a short-lived character, for there came the legendary gap leading up to Revival Day. During this gap, there was a recognition of sorts in that Captain Seppuku was a bad character. The first sign of change came with the renaming of Captain to Lieutenant, for reasons I would later justify that coming year. The better change came with June of 2013, where his character took an entirely different swing. With the revival of F-Zero Seppuku, we saw an entirely different Seppuku, one who no longer bared obvious resemblance to Captain and Blood Falcon. One of the many changes you saw was a draw away from the Captain Falcon as a rival, as his actual rival ended up being Jody Summer of all people. The Jody-Seppuku rivalry existed the entire saga and became a classic among readers, in contrast to Seppuku's dislike of Captain Falcon, in which not many paid attention to. Furthermore, little things such as Seppuku's rudeness, obnoxious behavior, manhunt mentality, love for guns, and love for beer steered the Man of Darkness in a better direction. He even ended up with his own theme song titled I Am the Man of Darkness, as being played during this video. In the very beginning, Captain Seppuku was supposed to be a man from Wales, which begs the question, why did he choose the title Seppuku? The answer to this is simply that, back in 2012, I was under a mentality that F-Zero Seppuku would be made under heavy Japanese influence, and perhaps one day have a manga series in Japanese characters. For this reason, the name Seppuku was bestowed upon him with the false expectation that F-Zero Seppuku would become loved by the Japanese, not the English. Of course, that plan never held fruit from the beginning. I don't even know Japanese myself. One of the big things to address about Lieutenant Seppuku is the almost obvious misconception that Seppuku is more powerful than Captain Falcon and Blood Falcon. This can safely be theorized, but is not a fact. This claim can be argued for two reasons. 1. Seppuku never demonstrates superiority over the Falcons. If you review the three parts of F-Zero Seppuku, you'll actually never find a single scene that has Seppuku beating either Falcon in a fair fight. The same could be said vice versa. The fact of the matter is that no truly fair fight exists between characters in the saga. While Seppuku has fought both Falcons before, each encounter is under unfair circumstances for either party, thus not a fair fight. To claim that one is better than the other off of the written text is unfair, for each victory claimed by either party in battle and or racing is always lopsided in some way. In short, there exists no Seppuku versus Falcon fight that demonstrates pure base strength. To truly measure Seppuku's power, one would need to remove guns, allies, and other advantages from the fight as well. 2. The Blood of Dark Million. This is a big one. In lap 72 of part 3, Captain Falcon quotes, "I also eat only healthy things, while you drink yourself to death every night in an attempt to distance yourself from problems." Now, as explained throughout the saga, Seppuku and both Falcons draw their power from the Blood of Dark Million, which is enhanced with good sleep, good eating, and exercise. Captain Falcon and Blood Falcon have differing ideas on how to better hone their power. Captain Falcon states that he goes by a balance, eating, sleeping, and exercising as much as he sees fair. Meanwhile, Blood Falcon believes that sleep and eating is less vital than exercising, and as such, he puts priority on exercise. This leaves Seppuku in an interesting situation, since he for the most part refuses to sleep, and lives by a life of beer and junk food. Seppuku only enjoys power from exercising under the moon. For this reason, it can be suggested that Seppuku has less or equal than what Blood Falcon boasts. The bottom line being, Seppuku is likely not as powerful as the two Falcons, unless he comes of a more powerful craft in general. That is up for theorizing. The Red Dove being named similar to the Blue Falcon, in all honesty, is one of the few existing knockoffs of Seppuku's character in the end. In hindsight, the Red Dove should have been called something different, but to make such a change would have a severely negative impact on a story that had been already running. The same could be said for the name Seppuku. No one would have approved of me suddenly changing his name to Lieutenant Bulldog, or something like that. It'd be too radical of a change. For this reason, yes, the Red Dove is an obvious knockoff of the name Blue Falcon. Such is a lesson I carry on with me to Engelreis and Shrouded Piety, but for F-Zero Seppuku, it's just what it is. In conclusion, Seppuku's character did take a good U-turn away from the path of being too cliché. To now claim that he's a knockoff of Captain Falcon is objectively wrong, as his character really doesn't mimic much of Captain Falcon outside of appearance. And really, when you get down to it, the visor is the only thing they have in common. I could easily replace it with, say, a bandit mask, or maybe not a mask at all, and there wouldn't really be anything in common. Seppuku went from a stronger clone of Captain Falcon into the beloved Man of Darkness. Between his sarcastic nature, his tendency to always kick open doors, his struggle with keeping Chia out of his office, his rivalry of Jody, and much more, Seppuku is perhaps the turning point for Scientix's made characters. Lieutenant Seppuku marks the point in my storytelling career where I went from making bad characters to making good characters, even if I had a really bad start with his.